welcome to Glisten's Culinary Delights. I don't know about you, but here in Arizona, it is hot. It's been heating up for a while now. So today I'm going to teach you how to make an amazing summer dessert recipe. No baking, so you're not going to be heating up your house, and it's relatively easy and super delicious. So stay tuned and we'll get started with that recipe. Alright, so let's get started with our recipe. Today we're making a mango lime panna cotta. It's delicious and it's simple and it looks beautiful when it's done. So first things first, we're going to use some heavy cream, and this is full fat heavy cream, and I'm going to just put a half a cup in my bowl. Right now I have 2 cups and we're going to use the rest of that later, but we just need the half a cup for now. So, and then I have unflavored gelatin. You can usually just buy this in the grocery store, buy the regular Jello, and it's just 1 packet of gelatin. So I'm going to stick it in with my half a cup of heavy cream. Now you're just going to stir this up. Get it all good and incorporated. And once it's stirred up, you're just going to set this aside because we're going to work on the rest of the recipe. So for my next step, I have my cooktop and it's heating up a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3/4 cup of sugar into my saucepan. And then also the rest of that heavy cream. So it's a 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Make sure you get all of it out of the cup. And you're going to mix this together and let it dissolve. And you're just going to let it cook until it's simmering, your mixture. Okay, so now once it's done simmering, you're going to remove it from that heat. And we got a few ingredients that we're going to add. First, I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla paste. You can also use vanilla extract if that's all you've got. I just think vanilla tastes better. Vanilla paste tastes better. And then you're going to get your Jello mixture that we did at the very beginning, and you're going to add that in as well. And it's going to look like chunky cottage cheese, and that's alright. That's what it's supposed to look like, because you've got that gelatin that bloomed in your heavy cream. Now I'm just going to whisk that all together until your gelatin dissolves. Okay, so now that it's all mixed and incorporated in my saucepan, I'm going to pour it into something that kind of has a spout. Like this bowl has like a little thing that helps me pour. You're just doing this to help cool it, but also so that it's easier to pour into your ramekins. So if you have like a measuring cup with a spout, or even just a bowl with a spout, that would totally help and just make it easier for you. So I have my mixture, and I'm just going to set this aside for about 5 minutes, and we're going to prepare our ramekins. Alright, so I have right here, I have 6 4-ounce ramekins. You can use 6-ounce ramekins or 8-ounce ramekins, however big you want it. Or you don't even have to use a ramekin. If you just have like a nice glass bowl or a glass cup that you want to put it in, you can do that as well. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray them with Pam to prepare them, so that way they don't stick when you turn them over onto your plate. Let's just give them a quick spray. Okay, and make sure you can use your hands, don't worry about getting messy, and just kind of spread that all around on the inside. Alright, so we're ready to pour this into our ramekins. It's been sitting for about 5 minutes to let it cool just a little bit. So I'm just going to pour in some in each. It's going to be equal. It's going to be about 1/4 cup in each of my ramekins. And you don't want it to fill all the way to the line that's inside the ramekin, because you are going to put another type of gelatin in there later. It wouldn't be me if I didn't have an extra step to this recipe. So just fill it just under that line, about 1/4 inch from under that line, so that way you can fill in more gelatin. Now at this point, you're just going to want to make sure that all of them are even. And if you have one that has slightly more than another, then you can pour some of that in the other. Just make sure that if you're doing that, you're going to wipe off the sides, so that way it doesn't get all messy. Alright, so now that they're ready, I'm just going to stick them on, you can stick them on a baking sheet or you can just stick them directly into the fridge. I would not cover these right away just because they are still a little bit warm. And so if you cover them, you're going to get that condensation on the top of the plastic wrap or whatever you use to cover them. And it's going to like seep down into your panna cotta. So just leave them uncovered, stick them in the fridge. For an hour or two. I prefer to do it 2 hours. That way it's more set when you put the other gelatin on top. Now let's get to the rest of this recipe. Here I have a 1/4 cup of cold water, and then I have another packet of gelatin. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that into your gelatin. Put that into your water, not your gelatin, and mix that up. Alright, it's all good and mixed. So you're just going to set this aside just like we did with the other gelatin for about 5 minutes. So I have my food processor and we are going to put in 4 cups of chopped mangoes. I just roughly chopped them. They're not even or anything like that because we're just going to blend them. But I cut them up. I'm putting them in my food processor and we're just going to blend them until the mixture is smooth. So I'm going to measure it out. It's not going to be exact because the mangoes are big chunks, so 1 cup. Just want to make sure I have enough. 3 and 4. Alright, so I'm just going to put my lid on here. And I'm just going to let it pure. Alright, that's perfect. Okay, so now that that's done, I've got my saucepan and I cleaned it out. And then I've got a strainer that I'm going to use. And you're going to pour your mango mixture into the strainer and just let it strain into your saucepan. So now as you saw, there wasn't like very much juice in there, but what you're going to do to get the juice out of your strainer is you're just going to press on to the mango bits. And it'll slowly start to drizzle that juice, the mango juice, out of your mixture. Okay, so we have our mango mixture here, and I'm just going to stick this from our saucepan onto our cooktop, and I am going to add a 1/3 cup of sugar in with the mixture. You're going to want to mix that sugar up and let this go until it's simmering. Alright, so that's perfect. It's simmering now. I'm just going to remove this from the heat. We have a few things that we're going to add to our mango mixture. First thing is I have a lime here, and before I cut the lime and juice it, what we're going to use, I'm just going to roll it out so I can get more juice first of all. And then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zest it, because we're going to use some of the zest as a garnish on top of our panna cotta. Just love the smell of zest, lemon zest or lime zest, so good. Okay, just set your zest aside because you're not going to use it just yet. I'm just going to juice that lime. I want a tablespoon of lime juice. What I'm using here, it has like a little measuring spoon, so it's way easy to tell when you've got enough. Alright, so that's about a tablespoon right there. I'm going to stick that in my mixture, as well as our gelatin mix. Now as you can see, our gelatin mix, I'll just dip my finger in it, it's kind of gushy and gross. But that's how it gets after you let it set for a little while. So just stick that whole piece into your mixture. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with our other panna cotta. I'm just going to whisk all of this together. You want the gelatin to be completely dissolved. And then I'm going to pour it into my bowl again, just for easier pouring into my ramekins. All right, I'm just gonna set this aside for like 5 minutes and let it cool, and then we'll get our ramekins to pour this on top. Okay, so now our panna cottas have set in the fridge. You can tell because I'm turning it like this and nothing's coming out. You can also kind of lightly touch the top. They're completely set. So I've got my mango mixture that we just made, and I'm going to pour it on top of each of these panna cottas and stick it back in the fridge for another couple of hours. So you're gonna do an even amount, and this time you're gonna fill it up to that line on your ramekin. Same story, if you need a little bit more in the other, you can always just pour a little bit in there. Okay, so now they are completely full. I'm going to put them back in the fridge, and they're gonna be in there for another couple of hours up until you're ready to eat them. At this point, if you want to cover them with some plastic wrap, you can, just because you put the cooled mixture in there already, so it's not going to cause that condensation that you are worried about on top. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to store them in until I'm ready to eat. All right, everyone, we're ready for our final product with our panna cotta. So this has been setting in our fridge for about a couple hours, and taking the plastic off, it looks completely set, which is awesome. So first thing you're going to do, we want to separate this from the sides. So I use this. You can use a knife too if you have a knife. I just feel like this is longer and a little bit thinner than the knives that I own. So I'm just sticking this as close to the edge as I can and all the way down to the bottom, and I'm just moving it around in a circle on the end to loosen it from the sides. Okay, perfect. All right, so the next step is I'm just going to put my plate on the top of the panna cotta, and then I turn it upside down. I'm gonna tap it a little bit to try to help it come out. Peak, it hasn't come down, so I'm just gonna tap it some. There we go. Doesn't that look delicious? You can see all the granules from the vanilla that we put in. And then down on the bottom, you've got your mango gelatin as well. So first thing I have is my mango, and I got a mango and I just sliced it super thin. So I'm gonna put a few slices of that on the top, okay? And then I have some lime zest that I'm also going to just lightly sprinkle on the top of that panna cotta. All right, so here is our finished product. It's looking beautiful. I love it. We are going to taste it now. That is really good. It's hard to stop. Creamy. The lime zest gives it a nice different flavor. And then you've got this mango gelatin down at the bottom that tastes so good. If you love mangoes and you want an easy recipe to make in the middle of summer to not heat up your house, then this is the recipe for you. It's so good. It's so delicious. I hope that you make this because it is delicious, and I will have the recipe down in my description. If you'd like to see the other videos on my channel, click that notification bell. You can also like, subscribe, comment, whatever you'd like. I'd love to hear from you guys. Love to hear if you made this recipe. So good, super easy. Thanks for joining me.